This music never gets old. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 53 of The Game Changers. I'm your host, Carla. Tonight, I have a fantastic episode lined up for you, and I'm honored to feature Steve Rubenfaer, the CEO of Better Takes and a seasoned entrepreneur with over 40 years of diverse startup experience. He brings a wealth of knowledge and experience that I'm sure you will find enlightening. We will dive deep into some engaging discussions and explore fascinating topics. Stay tuned for an insightful and entertaining show. Before I dive into tonight's episode, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Evan Iggy JC and the TSA team for their invaluable support in providing me with this platform to engage with distinguished leaders and innovators within our community. Join me as I explore the lives and stories of my guests, uncovering their personal insights, experiences in fantasy football, and much, much more. The Game Changers is not your ordinary podcast. It has fostered a cherished community, and I'm honored to share this journey with all of you this evening. Who is Steve Rubenfaer? Hopefully, I'm saying your name correctly and I'm not butchering it, Steve.
More or less. Rubenfaer, it's fine.
Rubenfaer. So, Steve Rubenfaer, the visionary behind Better Takes. Steve is a trailblazer in the fantasy sport industry, known for his innovative approach and enhancing user experiences through data, transparency, and insightful analysis. With a rich background as an entrepreneur, Steve has successfully launched and managed multiple businesses, bringing a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the table. Steve is a true pioneer, having built and led numerous successful ventures across various industries, from organizing some of the largest festivals on the West Coast, such as the Union Street and Fillmore Fairs in San Francisco, to producing the largest family event in Las Vegas. Steve's entrepreneurial spirit knows no bounds. He has also owned the largest seller in one of eBay's top-level categories and operated multiple retail stores. At Better Takes, Steve leads a team dedicated to helping fantasy sport enthusiasts understanding their betting patterns and biases, ultimately improving their performance and enjoyment of the game. His passion for sports and commitment to innovation make him a standout figure in the industry. Steve's journey is marked by his role as the first employee in almost all his ventures, demonstrating his ability to build companies from the ground up. Steve has a fascinating career and a vision for the future of fantasy sports. He is a visionary leader who continues to innovate and inspire. How are you today, Steve?
I'm good. How you doing?
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So we're going to talk a lot about, like your journey as an entrepreneur, as the CEO of Better Takes, especially that Better Takes is one of our sponsors. And we cannot thank you enough at our family that you sponsoring our show. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it's been great being associated with you guys. Thanks. Thank you.
So can you tell us about your journey as an entrepreneur and what inspired you to start your first business?
I don't know. I just always, ever since I was a little kid, I was always just doing business, whatever that meant. And I mean, like garage sales or stuff like that, paperboy. I don't know. I just really at an early age had this thing that I was going to be a business person and have my own businesses. And my first business actually was when I was 12. So I used to collect stamps. My dad collects postal stamps. Something that no one's done since then. But anyway, so I used to sell stamps. I used to collect stamps, and by the time I was 12, when I was 12 in 1980, the collectible stamp market got really hot for some reason. So it got very trendy, and so I was very interested in that aspect of it. And I started buying and selling stamps as a 12-year-old. And by the time I was 14, I was setting up at local trade shows. And when I was 15, I was taking airplanes by myself around the country and selling stamps. And that was like the first. So I started, when I was a kid, when I was in high school and college, I was already, flying around the country with my own business, selling collectible stamps to people. Very
That's
physical business,
amazing.
with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's heavy stuff. Now it's an internet business, but yeah, back then it was just very, direct in front of your customer, what they want you to happen.
Just to have this like goal from like being 14 years old, that's just amazing to know. That's something that not many people do in their life. And to tell me that you start everything, like start your first business being 14, is such an amazing thing. So what, like, who pushed you to do that? Or was it like your own perspective in life that you wanted to do something different, that you push yourself to becoming an entrepreneur and to start at a young age, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my parents really helped me out, obviously, at that age. And my dad would, like drive me to these trade shows and stuff. But I think it was definitely self-motivated. I don't know, I had that kind of personality even at a young age where I was like going out and doing stuff. So I don't know why. I don't know how I don't know what got me interested in going from, collecting stamps to all of a sudden making it a business and having these other businesses. I'm not sure. I don't know why. I have no idea. I was just always trying to do these things. I don't know what's behind it.
That's something so cool. So, with over 40 years of experience, what are some of the most significant changes you've seen in the startup landscape?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, it's gotten more serious. Like it's more of a thing, you know what I mean? So that means there's more tools, it's more of its own community, you know what I mean? Like starting a business, you know, 20 or 30 years ago was a little more haphazard, you're kind of more on your own. Now there's a lot more resources. Now there's, I guess online, has really made businesses more of a, like entrepreneurs more of a community. So it's just easier to find resources. It's easier to do everything from market research to anything you want to do now is more automated. So you can focus more now on your idea and your niche rather than having to do a lot of administrative stuff. It's a lot easier with things like email and QuickBooks. So I think the environment has gotten a lot. I think it's gotten a lot better because I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are just more and more kind of disenchanted with just working for the man or whatever. So I think just a lot of opportunities opened up, and tech has just added a whole new world of opportunity, especially now where you can like AI or you can get offshore coders, so you don't have to know anything about tech, start a tech business. So it just gets easier and easier over time. Society is really the difference in hiring in employment in a country has to do with small business. Like large businesses kind of plateau with employment. So really small businesses are really the marginal place where workers get hired and the economy grows. So as we have a more conducive, more open society to business, it's just kind of easier to open businesses. And I don't know how that fits in exactly, but I think that society is just kind of more aware of small business and how important it is. And even hear about like no one knew what a VC was like 30 or 40 years ago, or people didn't follow startups. You know what I mean? Like there was, like there's always someone open a business or whatever. But so I think the world. I think what's happened is it's clear that startups and small businesses where all the marginal innovation is, and big companies don't move that fast. So I think that as more innovations are created by small business. So it's kind of more in the highlight, it's more in the public eye, and it just becomes more mainstream and it's snowball. Luckily.
I agree. So you've worked in various industries. How have these diverse experiences shaped your approach to business and leadership?
When you're in diverse industries, you kind of learn, you just learn to be very open. Like you just learn not to get trapped anywhere. You learn to get very open. I've had some failures too. I've had things that don't go well. And that really teaches you because then you know in advance what could go wrong. You build a better foundation so you kind of see farther in the future. So I think different industries, there's some commonalities throughout all industries. There's some parts of business that are the same no matter what industry they're in. And when you're in different industries, you kind of recognize that. At first, you kind of think maybe certain problems are specific to this industry, and then you realize, like, hey, that's the same in every industry. So it kind of gives you more of a general template, like a foundation working in different industries. You can say, okay, this is kind of the platform that you want to build a business on, and then here are going to be the specific things. As far as leadership, I think when you're in different industries, I think being in different industries, which by definition is going to mean that there's a lot of industries that I'm not really an expert in, just really instills in you the need for finding like super good people that really know what they're doing for their roles and just listening to them. Like I almost never lost an employee ever because I didn't pay them enough. Like if we had a fight over money, that I realized that meant for the wrong person. So you find great people, you find people that know their stuff for like something small. And then you just have to listen. So when, you know what I mean? Like you just have to trust that, you basically have to trust them once when you hire them. And after that, you can't just doubt them every time. You have to just go with their program. And so being in different industries made me understand the importance of people that have very specific domain expertise and how much more they're going to know than me. So you just listen to them. It's just all about the people. Find the right people, and then you just kind of listen to them. And that works in all industries.
And that's what makes you, like successful. That's amazing to hear. Talking about Better Takes, and I know that Better Takes is one of the sponsors for the show. What motivated you to create Better Takes, and what sets it apart from other fantasy sports platforms?
So it's actually not fantasy sport. It's just straight up betting. But I bet basketball, college basketball, back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I mean back in the Villanova even Georgetown day. And I didn't for a long time. And then when it became legal, I started betting college basketball again. I'm not sure why. You can see a recurring theme here. Not knowing why I did. But I started betting college basketball. And right away, I wanted to know, like, I was just very interested in how I was doing in certain situations. How am I, just simple stuff. How am I doing in the Big Ten? How am I doing with Michigan? How am I doing with favorites, underdogs? And I went looking for an app or software, and there was nothing out there that could tell me. And I was really shocked that there was nothing that could tell me how I was doing and help me understand my own betting. So I just decided to build it. I was like, it seems like a great growing industry. It's going to grow for a long time. There's nothing in the market. So I happen to have a good friend of mine that is in the sports betting industry. Actually, he's in the fantasy industry. He's somebody that people know his name is Sheets. And I told him the idea, and he said, that's great. That sounds incredible. And he has a partnership in the fantasy industry with a guy named Bobby Firestone, who's kind of has a following in daily fantasy. And they just thought the idea was good. So I just, I basically just had an idea because I basically built something because I wanted it. And I told these friends about it, and everyone in the company is either a super long-time friend of mine or a long-time friend of theirs. So, we're not kids. We've all been around. We all are very high level in our job. So I have 6 partners. I'm the only one working full-time. The other ones are very, very high-level people in various aspects, and they each bring something completely different to the company. And what we do is we build tools that help bettors understand their play better. And we have an algo that searches their past history to find their strengths and weaknesses. And it just kind of helps find these repeated patterns we all make. And, we have just hopefully help stop bankrolls, things that you're just doing over and over, patterns, things you're not aware of. It just gives you insight into things that you couldn't see on your own. And The way it works is, after you've done your research, so you figure out who you want to bet, you know who you want to bet, you come to Bettor Takes, and the last thing you do before you bet is you check our analyzer. And you say, I want to bet Atlanta +7. When you say that, we look at your past history, and we find similar situations. We find similar bets you made in the past. And you can download your history from any US or Canada sportsbook. Or you can just start from scratch. It's not that big of a deal. But anyway, you say you want to bet Atlanta +7. We look at your history. We find similar situations. Our algo distills a whole bunch of variables into one number. And we call that number your edge score. So we're all about your edge score. Your edge score is a measure of your proficiency for that particular bet. And it's made on the fly. And it just answers the question, when I've made similar bets in the past, how have I done? And it's just a great tool to see, your expertise or your proficiency in any situation. And if you get a good edge score, the way it works is a 50 edge score means you have no edge. Like if everyone was doing coin flips, it all converge on 50. So if you have a good edge score, 53, 54, those are good numbers. It means that it's something you're okay at. So go ahead. It's just kind of confirmation. Great. But the real value of the program, of our tool, is when you hit a low edge score. When you come face to face with something that says you suck at this. Because it's really easy to make a bet on DraftKings, right? Like we know it's $50, $100. It's just like, but there's something about looking at a bad edge score that's more powerful. Where you just like don't want to bet it. You're like, I'm gonna lose this bet, I don't want to make it. So it kind of self-corrects the problem. You look at it, you have a bad edge score, it just adds a little mindfulness, adds a little pause where you're like, do I really want to make this bet? And you might say, you know what, this is an awesome bet. I don't care if it's something I'm bad at. I'm going to go ahead and do it. But hopefully it'll help you understand your play better and understand the areas that you need to curtail and areas that are really hurting you. And hopefully it'll just help out in some way. But even if it doesn't, the information itself is fascinating. So we also have a stat screen. We have just a screen of your statistics, which shows your stats in a very granular level, like AFC, NFC, or Atlantic 10, Big 10, Michigan, Brighton. Yeah, home team, away team, home team with points, playoffs, confidence levels, and it's just fascinating to see your stats because there's nothing like it on the market. So there's no playing. There's really no other products in the market that break down your play level. There are some bet trackers.
Nice.
But what bet trackers do, bet trackers have a fatal flaw. They don't really show you anything because betting on sports is really two different skills, completely different skills. One of them is handicapping, which is like what you think is going to happen in the game. It's just analytical, like LeBron's going to do well, or they're going to win by 4. And the other side is, okay, it's money management. It's like, now that I have this opinion, what's the best way to express it better? How do I capitalize on my opinion? And those are two separate things. So what trackers do is they just combine those into one number. Here you need $100, and it doesn't tell you where the problem is. You know what I mean? It's great for an accountant, but it doesn't really give you any insight into your play or what's going wrong. So our tool just tells you, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, where you need extra work, and hopefully you can help stop a lot of the bankroll leaks.
That's awesome. So I know from a previous experience that some of the states, they legalize like the laws to play and to put money and stuff like that. But some states, you cannot play per se fantasy football. And like in here in Connecticut, you have to go to Mass to put money or to put something. And then when you come back here, you can fix your teams and stuff like that. So Greg is asking an important question, because how difficult it is navigating the different laws in the various states. Because like I said, like in Connecticut, you have to go to Massachusetts to put money and to fix what you need to fix. You cannot use money, even it's legalized in Connecticut. Can you use your platform in various states? And if you can, Can you tell us how and what different laws, if you can't, Steve?
So there's no laws that bar our product anywhere in the world as far as we know. So we don't accept bets. You can't bet on our site. It's just giving you information. It's looking through your betting history, but there's no regulation. So we're just a tool. We're just an informational tool that helps people look at their own data. So there's no laws or regulations in any state that cover us whatsoever. None in this country, and as far as we know, nowhere else in the world. We're just showing people insight into their own previous bets. So we're looking. There's no like all the regulations are around placing bets and money. So there's no money on our site. Actually, there's really no money because right now everything is free. So we're not regulated anywhere, so no one has to worry about that. You can download our app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. You can search for Better Takes, and you don't have to worry about any legal laws or anything like that. It's free to use everywhere. It's legal and free.
So would in the future be something that people will be paying for it, or it's gonna stay free forever, Steve?
No, we're going to put some of the features behind paywalls, especially the ones that we have an extensive roadmap. We have super cool features coming out that are really advanced, and we're going to, we need to make money someday, right? So we're going to put them behind paywalls. Our products create a tremendous amount of value. You know what I mean? So it's worth it to pay for. So we actually have another feature we just came out. So we just came out with our first more advanced feature, and it's called the recommendation engine. And like I said, when the user tells us they want to bet Atlanta plus 7, we give them an edge score, and we tell them their proficiency for that particular bet, that situation.
Yes.
On top of that, we also look at how well they do usually. And are you familiar with alternate spreads? You know what those are?
I don't play fantasy football. I'm not that familiar a lot with it,
Okay.
but I would love to know more about it if you can share.
Okay. So when a site like DraftKings, when there's a spread Atlanta plus 7, you also can bet Atlanta plus 5, Atlanta plus 6, Atlanta plus 8. You can make all different bets, and just the odds are different. Like if the point spread is Atlanta plus 7,
yes,
but you think that they're going to, but you think they're going to do better than that, you can bet Atlanta plus 5, which is a harder bet to cash, but you get rewarded with better odds. So if you say Atlanta plus 7 is such a great bet, I'm going to bet Atlanta plus 5 instead. And instead of betting 110 to win 100, I'm going to bet 100 to win 120. Anyway, we have a tool. So those bets are called alternate spreads. So the main spread is Atlanta plus 7, and then there's alternate bets you can bet also. And our tool, the recommendation engine, finds your optimum spot with those alt spreads. It's something people don't think about. People don't really look at these alt spreads. They're kind of an afterthought. But we think it's a great opportunity. We think they're mispriced. And we think it's a way you can make some money. So our recommendation engine will tell you if there's a better bet for you. So you say, I want to bet Atlanta plus 7. We say, okay, your edge score is 49. But instead of betting Atlanta plus 7 minus 110, bet Atlanta plus 2.5 at plus 140. So bettors will understand what that means. So we show you your optimum place, and there's nothing like this on the market. Like nobody has built anything like this. So we're going to keep building more and more tools. We have a same game parlay tool coming up next, and then we have Better Takes Financial. Like I said, there's two parts to sports betting. There's the handicapping and the financial. Right now, all of our products are geared towards the handicapping side, and then we're going to mirror them and make them for the financial side to tell you what mistakes you're making in betting. Like maybe you're parlaying too much, you're making mistakes. So we're going to start putting things behind paywalls, and especially as our features get more and more advanced.
So saying that, are you trying to find people for jobs? Are you opening for seeking people for jobs, especially that people that are here? And if you are seeking for someone to work for you, Steve, would it be full-time or would it be part-time? Knowing from fantasy football, I know it's a lot of part-timers, but would you consider people coming over to Better Takes as full-time at some point?
Well, we're good right now. Actually, we're starting a big marketing phase, and we're starting to grow right now. We've never really done any big marketing. Like I said, it's all friends of mine. We've never had outside funding. We pooled our money, and we basically built a really cool tool. tool. And now we're starting to market it for the first time. So we don't quite need any help yet. As we get bigger, the first thing we're going to need is some kind of intern admin to help with customer service and do like all of these little things around the house that I'm going to be doing, obviously. So, but right now we're good. We're just starting a growth phase. So we'll definitely let you guys know when we are there.
That's so cool. So what lessons have you learned from running large events like the Union Street and Fulmore Fairs in San Francisco?
Running large events are training for running a company. It's basically like a startup in a day. It's like a beginning, start, and end of a company in hours. So I ran those events, are huge events. Like the Union Street Fair is one of the biggest events on the West Coast. It's in San Francisco. It gets 200,000 people. It's an event with 500 artists, maybe 12 beer gardens, 50 or 60 food vendors, 200 porta potties, 7 stages with live music, cleanup crew of 150. So it's a huge event, and it's an event. Basically, it's taking over. It's commandeering one of the most famous streets in San Francisco, Union Street. So you have no time. You don't have 2 days to prepare. They don't like close it and on Wednesday, so you have 3 days to set up. You close that street at 2 a.m. The artists come at 5. At 8 o'clock, the food starts coming in. At 10 o'clock, it's showtime. So what it teaches you is you have these impossible problems, like that you have to solve immediately. Like you have 2 things that are in the same spot. What do? Your vendor and your sponsor, you promise the spot, the stages. You have these problems, and they're multiplying. There's a time like at 6 or 7 in the morning when literally I would have a train of 7 or 8 people yelling their problems, and I would get like, Steve, you got to come over here right away. The health inspector is closing down the food, and I'd be like, follow me. And I literally had this train of people, and as I was running, I would be trying to solve these problems. It was really crazy. And that's how it is. The key to startups is really, like you said, I was always employee number 1. So I'm making something out of complete chaos. There's nothing in the startup. And as the startup gets bigger, it's like solving these problems. It's always triage. Like you don't have the resources to do anything you want to do. So you have to constantly be making these minute decisions that hopefully will last you the long term. And it's just, you just have to view a startup as like a war like that. And you have to really, the most important thing for a startup is knowing which things actually need attention and which things you don't need to deal with, even though everyone's telling you you have to deal with. But you have to just
think on your
really be economical and just pick the most important thing. And that's it. So that's what the events teach you. It's like you have to just do the crucial things first, and then you just have to compromise on the rest.
That's amazing. I do events myself, and I know what you're talking about. I know chaos, and I know how fast you need to work on your feet. So knowing someone that does the same, it makes me so happy. So I know that this typically, I did some research about it, and it's really amazing how they do it. And it typically takes place like the first weekend of June, which is in the summer. So it transforms this the street to like a vibrant celebration. So I'm sure with every single thing that goes crazy around you, I'm sure at the end of it, you will say, oh my God, I did something different. I did something fun, and people are happy, with that. That's super. Like the atmosphere is I know that like you have diverse people, and they are like unified in just one place. Right. So can you tell me a little bit about, do you work with like different diverse people in there, or how does it go?
In my company now? Or at the event you mean, or now?
With the festival, yeah. Still talking about the festival. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco is not that diverse of a place when it comes down. You know what I mean? It's,
yes.
Artists, you're dealing with artists, 500 artists. Artists are just artists, no matter what race or religion.
Crazy.
They're just like, yeah, these like guys, the food vendors, that's a whole other type of person. That's more like a farmer, like kind of a, more of a rough, like, they don't live in the city. They're coming in from other places and setting up, they're the kind of guys that set up at carnivals and stuff. And yeah, I guess it's diverse like that. My crew, I had a crew of 50 people working on my stuff, and they're all like, just these like, basically the guys that help out at concerts like punk rock. So they're all getting stoned at 3 a.m. and building everything. And
Wow.
they're the guys that like are bouncers, and yeah, they're the guys like that work at like the war field and all the shows. You know what I mean? The ones that are helping basically every event in the city has the same people, right? It's just a group of people that deal with events. And yeah, I guess I mean, nowadays diverse means like, different races or whatever. Kind of maybe not so much in that, but definitely diverse, different like groups of people that are coming together, completely different kinds of people that are coming together for an event that's over before you know it,
Yeah.
Food and city inspectors, that's another like, diverse group of people, like, they come just want to like shut you down for anything. The fire department, it's telling you that like the porta potty is like 2 inches, but the slope is slightly too much for a porta potty, and the guy in a wheelchair yelling at you because, so it's a diverse experience for sure, especially in San Francisco when you are doing everything.
So Chef just came in and he was saying that he never heard about Bettor takes before 14 seconds ago. We will talk about Bettor takes more through the episode. And he is telling you if you need an EMT in Chicago, hit him up. So just let you know. You have someone in Chicago that he wants to be connected to you. So with talking about, events and stuff like that, I know that you have a family event in Las Vegas. What inspired you to produce the largest family event in Las Vegas, and what did that event entail?
So I was living in Los Angeles, and I had a girlfriend, and we've been through. I lived in Los Angeles for like 8 or 10 years. And I had been through some of the biggest earthquakes, like these crazy. There was just this time where there were like a whole bunch of huge earthquakes around LA. And then one night, middle of the night, was the Northridge quake. And that was just way bigger than any of them. Even though I had been in like a 7.6 and a 6.71 and a 6.9 and a 6.7, the Northridge quake was just so massive because it was close. And when I found out that was not the big one, I left it. It's like, okay, I'm out. Now, I guess it was a bad move because there still hasn't been a big one, so it was a bad game. But I had a girlfriend who was in the children's entertainment business, and we decided to move to Las Vegas because I actually was betting on horses at the time.
Wow.
And Las Vegas, I could do that, obviously, but we had this idea. Las Vegas, this is a long time ago, 25 years ago, but then it was the fastest growing city in America, and it was just all families. It was just all people with families moving there to work. And so we decided that, my girlfriend was in the family entertainment business. So it seemed like Las Vegas was a better opportunity for something new, since it wasn't like, the same network of people. It was a growing thing. So we moved to Vegas, and we moved there during Halloween. And we realized that Halloween was just huge in Las Vegas because it was the first time you could kind of go outside. It's too hot outside. So we just had this idea for a Halloween event, a Halloween carnival. And we had never done anything like this. We were just kids. And we just had this idea for a Halloween carnival. And it just kind of came to life. And we went to Pepsi and said, do you want to sponsor our carnival? And we said, they said, they said, what do you want from us? We said, we have no idea. What do you do? And they're like, so you've never produced this carnival before. You've never produced anything before. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, well, here's what we'll do. And it was just, they were just so hungry for anything in Vegas that, so Pepsi came aboard as a big sponsor, and we went to Wendy's and we're like, hey, we got to do this event with Pepsi. Do you guys want in? And it's just one thing after another. We produced this huge carnival in Las Vegas. And we just, I don't know, it was really stupid. The event was awesome. It was a 5-day event. And financially, it didn't go that well because I just spent too much money advertising, and I didn't have to because I had all this free marketing and all these sponsors. So it was really stupid of me to spend money advertising. So the event was a great success. Everyone loved it. The whole city went. Everyone took their kids. But I lost a lot of money. But it was a great event. So decided to do it the following year. And next year was going to be bigger. That's like the biggest leap from like year 1 to year 2 of an event. That's like the biggest. And so all the sponsors were aboard. I had even bigger sponsors. We had like the NBC affiliate, the big C. Like we just had everything going for us. We just had this fantastic, machine going. And all these features like stages and crazy amount, 40 or 50 kids things and a full carnival. It was really a pretty big event. It was in the parking lot of Thomas and Max. And another great thing about the time period around Halloween is it's kind of the time of least rain in the desert. Well, during our time, we had the worst rain in history, and we were breaking records. Like the previous lowest highs were like 70. Our highs were like 50. We were breaking records by 20 and 18 degrees. It rained every day, and that was like. I could have probably done. Looking back, it was a great. Maybe could have kept it up, and why not? But that was just like I don't want to win Vegas. So anyway, so that was my Las Vegas event. Right, that's when I moved to San Francisco and worked on the Union Street Fair after.
But I mean, from nothing to make that big of an event, it's just amazing. You put yourself out there and you did a successful event, which is really great. So, do you have any memorable moment from, from that event in Las Vegas? Any memorable moment you want to share?
God, I've forgotten them. I wish I would have, maybe I should always write down the stories.
Yes, you should.
Yeah. What were some interesting, there was interesting carny moments. We had some weird carny stuff. There's a full carnival. Interesting moments. I don't know. I can't really think of them. We had this crazy staff of people. We had these managers. We're all kids, and I knew. I don't know. I can't think of any particular moment that was. We had a liger, a cross between a lion and a tiger, and a cave was a liger. We had this. I don't know. I should go back and look at the picture. I haven't. It's been a long time. But no, I can't think of any crazy moments or interesting moments out there. It's just. It was just 5 days of me running around, running in a golf cart. I had never done anything like this, so it was basically my parents came, and they're like,
nice.
"This is your."
That's a memorable moment.
Yeah, they were like, "This is business school for you."
So you should post some pictures and tag us with it. I would love to see that. I know that. Yes, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying, where are those?
So I know that you had a big eBay space as well. So can you tell us about your experience or owning the largest seller in one of eBay's top level categories, and what products were you selling?
So it was back in the stamp market, and I built up eBay's largest seller of stamps ever. So, like I told you, my dad is the one that got me in stamp collecting. I turned it into a business, but I didn't do it. I got out of the business for a long time. I moved to San Francisco, and I did a startup in the art business, and that died with the whole .com. That just was kind of that thing. And then I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have any career. I didn't know what to do. And my dad got me in the stamp collecting, into collecting. But I actually got him in the business. When I quit the stamp collecting business, my dad took it over. He's a psychiatrist. But on the weekends, he sold stamps because he liked stamps. I never was that into stamps. So he was selling stamps. And when eBay came around, he started selling stamps on eBay. And so when I was kind of looking for a job or looking for something to do, he told me, he said, "Hey, why don't you start selling stamps on eBay? It's really easy. I'll send you some. You can start. You can make a little bit of money. You can totally." And so I did. I started selling stamps on eBay just to figure out what I was going to do. And coincidentally, there was a big stamp show, a big trade show in San Francisco, like right around then. And I was actually going to buy some more stamps to sell. was like going okay. And I didn't want to really do it, full time, but it was paying the bills for now. So I went to this big stamp show, and I saw people I hadn't seen in 20 years. They're like, "Holy shit, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I live in San Francisco." And I would talk to them, and they're like, "What are you doing back here?" And I was like, "I'm selling stamps on eBay." And I just, I'm not really doing it seriously. And they were just like, eBay's horrible. Like, why would you do that? That's stupid. Just no one pays, and they all had this crazy negative, opinion of eBay. And it just hit me. I'm just like, these guys don't see it coming. Like, what? Because this is a business. This is such a real world, old school business. This is the kind of business that Gen Z would never understand. You know what I mean? Like, This is a business where you have to bring $1 million of inventory, like physically move it for hours or days, fly with it, or try some horrible experience to get it to the show, set it up for hours. You have to have $1 million of inventory to sell $4,000 at the show. Like, somebody comes up, you have a Spain number 27, and if you look in the book and you're like, here, okay, no thanks. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just horrible business where there's no match between what people are selling and buying. You know what I mean? Like, So here's the internet, where if I say I have a Spain number 27, well, somebody that's looking for a Spain 27 is going to find it and buy it, and they're probably in Spain. Like, you know what I mean? It could be anywhere in the world. So it just, you can match instantly with your products. Like, so what? You're not going to get as much money. Like, you don't have to keep the huge inventory. So it really dawned on me that that they didn't see what was coming. And one of the people I saw was a stamp dealer that lived in San Francisco, and he was one of my favorite people from the business before. And he's the best stamp guy in the world. He knows stamps better than anyone. And I'm kind of more a business guy than stamp. So I approached him at the show, and I'm like, I'm going in. And he actually was selling stuff on eBay. He's like, yeah, I'm selling stuff on eBay. Actually, it's going okay. And I was like, let's start a business. Let's just start a big stamp business on eBay. And so he's like, okay. So we built up the biggest stamp business the world has ever seen, the biggest online stamp business on eBay the world has ever seen. And we had 20 employees, and we had this kind of assembly line.
Wow.
And we did something that so this is actually a stamp business. I know it sounds crazy, but this, it's like it's ultra niche. So we did something that so the business of stamps is generally people that like stamps. They collected from a young age. They learn through collecting for years. It's a hard business to teach because it's not like coins where you can kind of get a sense for the grading, or baseball cards. Oh, it's got messed up corners. It's every country is a world. Like it takes a lifetime to learn about Hungary stamps or Thailand stamps or Argentinian stamps. So it takes a lot of domain expertise. Way too much. It's stupid business. You don't make money, but you have to know so much esoteric knowledge. It's not going to help you in any other aspect of your life whatsoever, right? So we did something. So we tried to build this business up, and it's just like we could hire people, but they were just like stamp collectors. They just they liked it too much, and they just didn't understand. Like, we wanted to build a machine, like a factory, and no one had done it. And the problem was labor. We couldn't find people that had a combination of stamp knowledge, but also knew what we wanted from them from business. But the other half of the business was these admin people doing scanning and shipping and, like jobs that didn't have to do with stamps.
Yes.
And they were awesome. They were like quick, and they got stuff out, and they were great. They were kids, they were just doing, and they came in at $19,000 a year, but if they were good, they were making 30, 35 really quick. You know what I mean? And this is,
nice.
Years ago. So we had this idea that had never been done in the business. We can train these people to learn about stamps and help us, because what the business model was, my partner is the best stamp guy in the world. So he'd go around the world buying stamp. He can look at a stamp collection and say, this is worth $13,800 in 2 seconds. And he's right.
Wow.
But we need people to process the stamps and put them on eBay. But you need the specialized knowledge. So we were the first people really in the world to take people that we knew were fast, good workers and train them about stamps. And we basically trained them very narrow. Like, one person would be only doing United States stamps, or one person only French stamps. And it worked, and they were cranking. And these people that were making $30,000 or $35,000 soon were making $70,000 or $80,000 breaking down stamp. $180,000 is money. And we built up this business with 20 employees, including a full-time software programmer. We sold 5,000 or 6,000 unique items a month, shipped, that many, and we were selling about 700,000 a month. We sold over $8 million a year. So,
Do you still have it?
No, I got out of it. So I had a partner in the business, my partner, and eventually I left. I just don't like stamps. And after a few years, I was just like, I'm just not into this. And I just like, it just wasn't how I wanted to spend my day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So at some point, I just kind of left the business, and I just, eventually, if you're in the stamp business, you have to like stamps. But if you don't care about stamps, it's tough to like stay in for. You don't want this to be your career. Right? So I left. But it was. So anyway, eBay has different categories, and like huge categories like electronic. You know what I mean? And for some reason, out of their 15 categories, stamps is one of them. I don't know if it still is, but stamps was a high-level category. It was by far their smallest category. But I can say I built the biggest company ever in one of eBay's categories.
That's amazing. I'm interested to know, did you have a Lebanese stamp at some point?
Lebanese, yeah.
Lebanese from Lebanon, Beirut.
Oh, you're from Lebanon?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Phoenicians right now. I keep reading books about Sidon and Tyre and Bibles.
Yes. I can help.
So Lebanese stamps are, they're during the French period. So they're not super. That's interesting. I mean, I know Lebanese stamps. It's not such a big. People in the Middle East don't collect stamps that much. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not a big thing right now in Lebanon with the stamps. But we had Phoenician like stamps, and they would be like really expensive at some point. So
yeah, there are some expensive ones. There's older ones. I can picture them. They're basically when they were French colony. When it was Grand Liban. There's they had like typical French. People collect French colonies. You know what I mean? So everyone French colonies you have to get Lebanese.
Yeah. So let's go back to Better Takes a little bit. And I do have a question from Greg that I want to ask you. But I want to start with, what was the motivation for Better Takes? Was it fantasy football? Was it personal? Or was it something that you just want to bring, out there for the community? So can you share a little bit your background in fantasy football as well, Steve?
Well, it's not a fantasy product. It's just a straight betting product. So there's no fantasy involved. It's straight betting. And it's just, I don't have a big, I've always been fast. Most of my betting in my life has actually been horses. So back in the mid 80s, I bet college basketball, and I really didn't bet other sports too much. And then since, but for the last 30 years, I've been betting horses. So I've always been a winning horse player. In 1995, I won. 1995 or 1996, I won a big tournament, a national horse playing tournament.
Really?
And now we're winning like $1 million. So back then. So yeah, I'm more of a horse player.
Okay.
When I was a kid, the only sport that interested me, I knew a lot about sports when I was a kid. And the only sport that I bet on for some reason was college basketball. I think college basketball appeals to me because it's the most esoteric. There's all these little teams and little leagues and small, you know what I mean? Whereas like football, everyone knows everything, right? But college basketball is all weird, obscure little things. So I kind of, for many years, I just played horses, and I play horses every day now on the internet. And, when I got back, in 2020 or 2019, I started betting college basketball again. And I was just really, I wasn't doing anything for a living at that moment. I didn't have a business. So I was kind of between businesses. And I wasn't really looking for anything. I can't remember what state of mind I was in. But I started betting college basketball, and not to make money at all. And when I was looking for something to help me understand my own bets, there was nothing out there. I kind of had this idea to make the company. I don't know. It just sounded fun. It sounded like, I don't really love. I'm not such a sports guy, and I'm not even such a sports betting guy. You know what I mean? But it's just like like my interest in sports betting is more like interested in the concept of sports betting more than like actually betting on a game. You know what I mean? Like I'm just interested in financial stuff. I mean, it's just the concept of betting interests me, and these different aspects of betting. Like betting as an industry interests me more than like betting on actual games. You know what I mean? Than the actual action of betting. So I don't know. It just seemed to be things converging. Like I felt like it was a brand new industry where there was a lot of opportunity. I felt like I found a niche that, you know what I mean? When there's a growing thing, there's things grow unevenly, right? So there's going to be niches that are unserviced. There's going to be places that you know no one's thought of the product yet. So I just thought I had found a great niche that was unserved, and it just sounded like something that could make money and was interesting. And another thing that I liked about it was just my friends were involved. Like I just told my friends about it. Like it's funny. I had just gone. So our CTO has been one of my best friends since we were 15, and he lives in Michigan, and I go back to Michigan all the time to visit my family. So I was there. So before I told him about Better Takes idea, every time I go to Michigan, I have this group of friends. We hang out on Friday night and we have some drinks. And I was there, and I told these guys about a business idea, something completely different. And then I had the idea for Better Takes, and I started moving forward with that. And then he called me and he said, "Hey, I've really been thinking about your business idea, and I've got some ideas." And I'm like, "Dude, I already started this other business. Here's this other business." And he's like, "That's great. Yeah, let's do that." So it just kind of coalesced with kind of the people, like just my friends being involved. It was just right place at the right time, a convergence of different things for many different reasons. And it just started off very mellow. Like very, actually, what I was doing for a living to pay the bills, it was kind of between businesses, like I said, but I kind of needed something to work on. And I went on this task rabbit, and I'm like, you know what? You know, because I'm an entrepreneur. By definition, entrepreneurs don't get hired. So no one's hiring me for anything. So it's like, if I don't have another business, like I'm just dead. So I'm like, I'm getting on these apps, and I'm just thinking, it doesn't matter. Right? I have plenty of time. I'll just see. And I thought I would consult. I don't have to consult, you know, like it's hard for someone like me to consult. I don't have that kind of background. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'll consult. So I get on TaskRabbit, and I put myself down for like $15 an hour to do anything. And I'm doing these like deliveries, or I'm doing like organizing, whatever. And you know, all I've known in my life is owning my own business. All I've known is taking on a tremendous amount of responsibility. So it's like I'm the best errand boy that's ever lived. You know what I mean? So I'm getting these reviews like, "Steve was the most incredible delivery person I've ever had in my life. He got to the post office, there were some questions, he couldn't reach me, and he made the most amazing decisions." I'm like hired for $18 to help people pack. And so these people are packing to move their house, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want this?" And I just start talking to them about minimalism, and I just start going over a lot of stuff with them. And they're like, "Steve was like our family therapist." You know what I mean? And I just like, so I start raising my rates. And I'm like, okay, 20, 25. And I'm like, I'm not going to get any gigs though. But it turns out there's kind of a place for a high-end errand boy that people know are dependable. You know? So I'm getting like $50 an hour to do deliveries, you know, and getting these incredible rave reviews. Like, you know, every review I got was this crazy 5-star review. And I wasn't even doing anything special. I was getting shit done. You know what I mean? Like Steve diffused this problem we'd had for years. He went over on his own initiative and talked to the neighbors, and he worked it all out. It was incredible. And a lot of what I was doing was gardening, you know, and I just had to raise my rates, and I just realized that I could, you know, make $60, $70, $80 an hour as a gardener in the Bay Area. I don't know how or why. I never really thought so. So there was like a year where I was between businesses and I was gardening just like on an app. So I didn't really have any like consistent customers. I was completely full. Like however many hours I wanted, I could work for $80 an hour as a gardener. You know, but that get old. You know, it sounds romantic, but it's manual labor, and it got old after a while. Yes. I've never done anything like that. It's like, why not? You know, I was trying to get consulting work. I was writing like awesome 10-page business plans, doing 3 years of financials that were incredible, like, you know, changing variables, and writing PowerPoint presentations, and all I could get was like $1,200. And I'm like, I'm gonna garden. I'm not gonna, like, you know, screw it. I'm not going to like work all day and go back and forth with some client. I'm just going to go there, kind of treat some game books out. Anyway, so that's when this stuff was happening, and that's when this Better Takes idea happened. And so it kind of was it wasn't like an all like 100% thing. Actually, it just kind of snowballed. I just started talking to people, and it just started coalescing. And then I just migrated. It was very easy. All I had to do was stop taking. So then I said just slow down on my gardening. I was doing it 3 days a week, 2 days a week, and then this Better Takes became a full-time job.
So it comes from knowledge to a dream to a reality, which is really amazing. I love that. So Greg had a question for you. How many bets do you need to form a baseline and get a reasonable score?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Obviously the answer is it's always the more the better. The more bets you have, the more it's going to be. But you can get meaningful results way sooner than you think. So for our stats stream, like literally once you have 7, 8, 9 games, it's already interesting. You're already like, wow, 7-2 is favorites, which is probably a lot of noise. It's probably not really reality. But the stats stream gets interesting immediately. The edge score probably needs more like 15 or 20 bets of the same bet. Like you're betting point spreads, 15 or 20, prop bets, 15 or 20. So 15 or 20, you start getting meaningful results. But the edge score is going to reflect that. Part of the edge score, obviously, is the sample size. So what's going to happen is, if you win your first 3 or 4 games, your edge score is going to be more than 50. It's going to be 50.2 or 50.1. So it just look at the edge score, and at first it's not going to move very much because there's not enough of a sample size. But pretty soon you will start seeing it move, and within a couple of weeks you'll have meaningful data. So there's a little time investment at first, but it's not too bad.
Nice. So what advice would you give to someone looking to organize their first like their first business or their first event or their first anything that you just did in your life, Steve, especially that you started everything at 14? What kind of advice you can give someone that's trying to do something big like you did, starting with a dream?
It's the kind of thing where it's all about experience. So you're probably going to fail. It's not going to go. You're going to really screw up. It's better to, against what I did, it's better to work for someone else for a while and then go out on your own. It's much better to have a little bit of training than do things from scratch. But if you're doing something, if you're like, doing something and have a business idea, something totally different, another business, I don't have a lot of advice like that. I have a lot of advice for people that are already doing something. Like if somebody says, I have this idea of what should I do, I would definitely be able to say, okay, here's the next thing, here's the next move, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not good for general advice like that. Like everyone is different, everyone's goals are different. It's hard to give. I don't have any axioms or what's the word, papers and whatever. I don't have any generalizations that everyone should do this or, I don't want to say just jump into it and do it because maybe you shouldn't. Like maybe you don't know it because you can fail. You will fail. And it's just, it's never a good idea to get into something you don't have experience with, So try to get that experience somewhere else. And, but there's experience you're just going to have on, there's just part of it that you'll never learn until you get out on your own. So at some point, you just have to, make that leap. But I don't know, just be as prepared as possible. Like you're just going to have problems you can't anticipate now, so you're going to make mistakes. Something's going to seem obvious to you, and you're going to go in a direction, and you're going to be like, God, that was really dumb. Anyone would have known that. That's just going to happen. So I know that's not great advice. But if anyone's starting a business of any kind, my email address is steve@bettertakes.com, and I will literally help any entrepreneur, any business. I'll talk to you on the phone. I'll walk you through anyone that wants to start up any kind of small business. I will absolutely help you as much as I can.
Thank you for doing that. So talking about the Sports Affiliation and you being sponsor for the Sports Affiliation, what else can you tell us about Better Takes and what do you want people to know about it?
So Better Takes has these cool features that I mentioned. One other thing we have is we have a social feature called Bet Circles, and Bet Circles are super cool. So Bet Circles are a way, it's a network You can have a circle. There's three kinds of circles. You can have a circle with your friends, and we have contests every week. So you can have these little contests every week. But we have a really cool feature, and we have chat. We have chat in these circles that's game specific. So basically, if you want to chat about a certain game, we kind of haven't seen that. Maybe it's somewhere. We have like every single game has its own chat. But
Yes.
we have a super cool feature that we call High Edge, even though it doesn't really have a name. So let's say you have 20 people in your circle, and you're all entering your bets for the day at different times. Different people in the circle are just kind of entering their bets. In the circle, when you go to the circle, what will pop up is a place that will show all the high edge score bets from your friends. So instead of someone tailing you, tailing someone like, trust me, bro, this is a great bet, you can see your best bets from all of your friends. So all your friends put in all their bets for the day, and then you look in the circle, and it says, like, Jim likes Dallas today, and his edge score is 58. So you can see which of your friends are betting things that they're actually good at, they've been good at in the past. And it's a real incredible product. So that's called a bet circle, and it's easy for friends to join. And then we also have a way, so we have products for handicappers. So if you're a handicapper, if you're selling your picks, bet circles are a great way to keep your community together. Or if you're a radio show, anyone that has picks, you can have a private bet circle, like a separate bet circle just for your community. And it's great for handicappers because handicappers that sell picks, they show their record. Hey, we're 101 and 79, we're 18 and 5 this week. But we can really help handicappers communicate with their customers because we can show them the edge score and the stats for each one of their picks. So if a handicapper says, our 5-star pick today is Dallas +3, all of their customers can see their edge scores at 52 or 54 and get an even deeper sense of how good they are in that particular scenario. So bet circles, and then we're starting a bet circle for everyone in Better Takes. So we'll have bet circles that are like Miami Dolphins fans or Raiders fans or people that live in St. Louis. So we have these social features also where people can, kind of tail each other by looking at their actual best bets, getting contests. And this is going to be a feature we're going to build out more and more. We think social features, what our product does is it's introspective. It helps you understand your own play. But it's also conducive to kind of comparing people. You can kind of bragging rights, right? You can say, I have a better edge score than you. So there's also a competitive nature to it and a social nature to it. So we're going to play out those areas of it more and more in the next few months.
Steve, let's say someone like me who doesn't bet wants to be on, on Better Takes. Do you have some features like that for people who don't bet, or you have to be into betting to get into that space of yours?
Well, it's not going to have a lot of meaning for you. The circles might be, it really revolves around betting. So more or less, there's not a lot for you to do if you're not going to bet. But I should mention, if you're somebody that doesn't bet, that wants to start betting, this is the best way for you to train. Because you can put in your actual bets and immediately see your areas you need to work on before you bet anything. So it's a great way for people that don't bet but want to bet to kind of have a live action training and really work on those areas that they're bad in until they get to a level they're comfortable with to actually pull the trigger and make real bets. But if you're kind of not into betting, if you're just into sports, there's not going to be a lot there. It's really for betting. It's a niche product. It's for people that bet on sports and want to improve their play. Because there's so much. Everyone has the same data, the same trends. There's so much info out there, and it's all the same. So to have an edge these days, you have to understand your own play. It's like the final frontier. It's like the last thing that hasn't been explored yet is how do you do when you bet in these situations. So it's really for somebody that is, introspective. They want to win more. They want to learn about themselves more. They just want to, they want to have a little more information than just looking at teams and players. They want to look a little bit deeper into, is this something I should be betting?
That's awesome. So we are almost we're over a little bit of an hour, and I really don't want to stop talking about Better Takes. But I do have one question that I love ending the show with, which is, do you have something that you never shared before with anyone else, secret, or something from your young, young age that nobody knew before about it? You can share it on the Game Changers tonight.
God, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I do. But that's not hard thing to think of. I have no problem saying some stupid shit I did or something, but I just can't think of anything. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is when I was 8 years old, I stole a chunky bar from our local pharmacy. I've never told anyone that, but yeah, I can do better than that, but I just can't think. What have I never told them? Yeah, I just drawing blank. I'm sorry. I think,
Something you never told anyone before, and you want to share it.
I just
With
tell
all
everyone everything. I mean, I don't hide a lot of stuff, so these questions. No, nothing really pops up. I'm really, I'm thanks. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish I could go out
No,
today.
don't be. Don't be. This question I always ask people, and I know sometimes people will think about something,
If I would
or
have known that, I should have watched the end of one of your shows. I could have.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Besides the Chunky Bar episode, I can't think of it.
Okay, if you want to start a rumor about yourself, Steve, can you start a rumor on the Game Changers tonight?
I'm an
That's
awesome lover.
something. You're what?
I'm an incredible lover.
Oh, yoo-hoo! That's a rumor or a truth?
It's true. It's true.
I love it. Steve, thank you so much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. So maybe we can let JC know to put the small segment about better takes before we take the episode.
I didn't even do the screen share. I didn't even show the program. But
you can do that if you want to. It's fine.
Okay, let's do that real quick. Can you put that up? Here we go.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is the program. This is how it looks.
Tonight.
It's not made for desktop. So this is on a desktop right now. It's not going to be perfect. But let's see if I'm signed in. So basically, it starts off. Here's a football game. So it has all the football games. You can bet the point spread, the money line, or the total. You can bet the full game, first half, and then we have prop bets. I hope they're up. So yeah, you can bet Cody Barton tackles. That is pick something easier. So let's say you have an opinion. Let's say you think the Broncos are a good bet. And you want to bet the Broncos the point spread. So you tell us you want to bet the Broncos. You click on this tile, and two things pop up here. First, we ask you your confidence level, which is, sometimes people don't use this. Like, I don't use this in my betting, but sometimes people have like 3-star picks. So one of the things we track is how you do with different confidence levels. I mean, a lot of people have 1-star or 1 unit, 3-unit bets. But do you really track that? Do you really know that you do better with your 3-unit bets or 5-unit bets? So we track that. One thing we look at is how do you usually do when you make 3-star bets? So I can look at different sports books. I can say, you want to put the actual odds you're getting here. Let's say I'm getting -3. And then you can do this. You pick your bets. I'm going to pick the Jets over 21 in the first half. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. You look some offensive props here. Tyler Huntley with passing yards. I guess it's still a little early in the week for prop bets. So you pick all your bets, and then you hit analyze. And when you hit that, it shows you your edge score. So I guess I don't know what account I'm signed in actually. So I don't have much data for this account. So then it shows. I hit analyze. It shows you your edge score for each bet, and there's a little stat screen here you can look at. So that's the main tool. It's called the Edge tool. And all your bets are on your upcoming tab, and that'll show all the bets that are upcoming. We also what's really cool is our stats screen. That's under Insights. So here I can show my stats. Well, I wonder what account this is. WNBA. Let's show NBA. So this is like for NBA. These are my stats. And I don't really bet NBA, so this is just put around. So I got 42 wins and 58 losses. I can expand it by league and see like the interconference. I can drill down further and see each team how I've done. I can see home team with favorites points. I can see totals. I can see different confidence bets. I can look at prop bets, offense, defense. So I can see my stats in very granular fashion. And if I hit show my verified edge score, what that does is that shows the outside world that all of these bets I've made were made before post. So you can add bets later on after the fact. You can delete bets from your history because your history is for you and for you to get the most accurate results. So if you made a bet that somehow screwed up, you didn't make, you can delete it. However, if you're going to compare bets with your friends, or if you're a handicapper that's going to show your clients your picks, we don't allow you to do that. You cannot massage your data. So when you turn on this verify thing, it only shows bets that were made before the game took place. And if you delete a bet, no, we still keep it in there. So that's what this little slider is for. For this, my account is going to be the same thing. So this is what I got NCAA, and you can see I kind of suck. So it's super interesting. Like I'm down overall, but look how good I am at home games, and look how good I am at favorites. So I have these here. Like I had a 58 edge score with favorites. Like there's no way I would know that if it wasn't for this program. Like, I would literally never have known that I was so much better at favorites than underdogs. Look at this incredible discrepancy. I would never know that if it wasn't for this program, and it's a huge discrepancy.
That's
so my
amazing.
program actually really helps me myself look at my own scores and see my edge scores a little different with and without the verify, because for my own data I put in stuff later on and kind of massage it a little bit if there's a bet that I end up not making or whatever. So that's a little different.
That's really interesting. It's really interesting, like thing to do. That's amazing. It's gonna help a lot of people, go through this for the betting. JC, do you want to put the little segment for Better Takes before we end the episode?
Do you want to go out on it, or do you want to say your goodbyes now and go out on it, or do you want to?
Let's put it now, and then we can say our goodbyes.
Okay, so we'll roll it. It'll come back. Say goodbyes. All right.
Yes.
Find your win tuition and elevate your sports betting with Better Takes. Better Takes examines your betting history to uncover hidden areas that cause bankroll leaks. Uncover patterns and biases so you can break the cycle of mistakes, avoid weaknesses, and play into your strengths. Our advanced stats offer unparalleled granularity, helping you immediately spot problem areas that could be affecting your success. Use the Better Takes Edge score to gauge your expertise for each potential bet, providing clarity and confidence in your decisions. Take control of your betting journey. Download Better Takes from the Apple App Store or Google Play today and start understanding your biases for free. Before placing bets, check with Better Takes, a smarter, more informed approach to sports betting.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And you guys, if you never heard about Better Takes, you heard it here on the Game Changers, and it's free, like Steve was saying. So, Steve, I cannot thank you enough for tonight. Before I conclude, can you please tell our audience how they can connect with you and where to find you on social media?
So you can find me on Twitter at my last name, Rubenfaer, at Rubenfaer. LinkedIn at Steve Rubenfaer. You can always email me, steve@bettertakes.com. So that's pretty much it. LinkedIn or Twitter would be probably the best way to approach it.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Game Changers. We hope you enjoyed your conversation. I hope you enjoyed your conversation with Steve tonight and gained valuable insight into his world and the world of betting. Not fantasy football, betting tonight. Thank you, Steve, for sharing your experiences, life lesson, and wisdom with us. We really appreciate you. Join us for the next episode of The Game Changers on Wednesday. October 22nd, where I welcome Jorge Martin as my special guest. I also want to express my gratitude for Evan Iggy JC and the TSA team for their continued support in providing me with this exceptional platform, sharing my guests' authentic stories and experiences. A special acknowledgement to JC, who popped in for just a couple seconds saying hi to us, for his invaluable contributions behind the scene. Your efforts, JC, are deeply appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback help us improve and reach more viewers like you. Follow us on social media and stay updated on upcoming episodes and join our community, the Sports Affiliation, where everyone is welcome. Until next time, keep challenging the game and making your mark. This is Carla and Steve signing off for tonight. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Shukran.